Hello, good day, grade 7 mathematicians. Thank you for hanging out with me. In this video lesson, we are going to do division of polynomials. To start, let's divide monomials. What is a monomial again? Alright, so it is an algebraic expression with just one term. But Tutor Maan or Tita Maan, we have a lot of variables here in these expressions. Even if there are a lot of variables in this expression, it is still a monomial because we don't have positive sign or a negative sign separating terms or separating expressions. So we just have one term. Again, terms in a polynomial are being separated by a positive sign or the plus sign or a negative sign or the minus sign. I hope that is clear. So we are dividing a monomial by a monomial. So let's get started, shall we? So in this first case here, our variables are x and y. So every time we have a fraction as a term, so to simplify it, then we write the fraction bar. Okay, now let's work on dividing the x, the variable x, or the factors with the variable x. The first thing we are going to answer, or the question we're going to answer first, is where to write the variable x. Is it in the numerator or in the denominator? How to answer that? We are going to compare exponents. What is the exponent of x in the numerator? It's 5. And what is the exponent of x in the denominator? It's 2. Which is bigger, 5 or 2? Yes, that's 5, right? So, x will be written in the numerator because the bigger exponent for x is in the numerator. Again, the exponent that is bigger for variable x is in the numerator. Again, the exponent, okay, for an x that is bigger is in the numerator. So we are going to write the variable x in the numerator because 5 as an exponent of x, which is bigger, is in the numerator. And next, we are going to subtract the exponents of x. 5 minus 2 is 3. So the exponent of variable x is 3. So we write here 3. We're done for the factor with the variable x. Now let's move on to the factor with the variable y. Compare now the exponents of y. In the denominator, it's 7. In the numerator, is 2. And yes, 7 is bigger than 2. And it is in the denominator. So y should be written at the denominator. And then, subtract exponents. 7 minus 2 is 5. So the exponent for y variable is 5. Pretty easy, right? So we just have to compare exponents and then write a particular variable to the numerator when the bigger exponent is in the numerator, and then write it in the denominator when the bigger exponent is in the denominator. Now let's move on to the second example. So again, we are dividing a monomial by a monomial. So we are now going to encircle the number part. So the number part is 2 over 6. So our numerical coefficient is a fraction. So if we have a fraction as a numerical coefficient, all we need to ask ourselves is it in lowest term? So what is the lowest term for 2 over 6? So we write in our scratch pad 2 over 6. Yes, we can divide 2 and 6 together, okay, with the greatest common factor. And what is the greatest common factor for 2 and 6? Yes, that would be 2. So we divide 2 by 2. We divide 6 by 2. Okay. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the new numerator now is 1. And then 6 divided by 2 is 3. The new denominator is 3. So the fraction 2/6 when expressed in lowest term is equal to 1/3. So that will be the numerical coefficient for our answer. Again, we write the fraction bar. The new numerator is 1 and the new denominator is 3. Okay, now let's move on to the variable a, the factor with variable a. Compare now the exponents of a. 8 in the numerator is bigger than 6 in the denominator. So we write a in the, yes, in the numerator. So we write a in the numerator and then subtract exponents. 8 minus 6 is 2. So we write 2 as the exponent of a. Now let's move on to the variable b. What are the exponents for variable b? We have 4 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So where to place b? Yes, in the numerator, because the bigger exponent is in the numerator, which is 4. So we write b in the numerator. And then we subtract exponents. 4 minus 1. So every time we have an invisible exponent, it's understood that the exponent is 1. So let's now subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3. So the exponent for b is 3. Okay, and then we can arrange for our final answer. We place 3 in the middle of the denominator part. Okay, so let's move on to the next example. So we have, again, a fraction for the number factor or the numerical coefficient. So it's negative 8 divided by 4. How much is negative 8 divided by 4? It's negative 2. Okay, so again for the answer, just write a fraction bar. And then negative 8 divided by 4 is 2, or negative 2. Okay, negative 2 is equal to negative 2 over 1, right? So negative 2 in the numerator and then 1 in the denominator. The new numerator of negative 8 is negative 2 because we divide negative 8 by 4. And then the new denominator, okay, to replace 4 is 1 because we divide 4 by 4. Because the GCF of negative 8 and 4 is 4. Okay, now let's move on to the variable a. What can you notice in the exponents for a? In the numerator, a has exponent 4. In the denominator, a also has exponent 4. It's equal. So in algebra, our professors will use the word cancellation. So we cancel a4 raised and then a4 in the denominator. Okay, so again, when we are dividing an expression wherein the expression or the variable in the numerator is equal to the variable in the denominator, the answer is 1. The same with numbers, right? If we divide 3 by 3 is equal to 1. When we divide 2 by 2, it's equal to 1. Okay? So, our professors use the word cancellation, okay, when there is a variable in the numerator that is equal to that variable in the denominator. And the answer for cancellation when dividing is 1, which is the identity element of multiplication and division. Alright? Some professors, there's another kind of cancellation, by the way. Okay, our professors also will use this one. Positive A minus, or positive A, negative A, alright, is equal to 0, right? So every time we are adding a positive variable by its additive inverse, then we call it cancellation as well. So the answer for the cancellation when adding or combining is 0, which is the identity element of addition. Okay, so be mindful of that. Okay, there are two kinds of cancellation: the cancellation when combining terms, adding, subtracting, and we have cancellation when we are multiplying or dividing. So the answer when cancelling variables under the operation division is 1. So a to the 4th divided by a to the 4th is equal to 1. Now let's move on to variable b. So where are we going to write variable b? Yes, the bigger exponent is 3 and it's in the denominator. So we write b in the denominator. Okay. And then what is the exponent for b? So we are going to subtract exponents. 3 minus 1 is 2. So the exponent of b is 2. Again, every time we have an invisible exponent, the exponent is 1. And finally, for the variable c, where to place c? Which is bigger, 7 or 2? 7. Where is 7? In the numerator. So c should be written in the numerator. And then subtract exponents. 7 minus 2 is 5. So the exponent of c is 5. And finally, I still have 3 minutes left. Here's our next case. So our numerical coefficient is a 5. And then we don't have a number in the denominator, so we just have to copy that number. So copy 5 in the numerator. Okay. Now for the variable x. Where to place x? Yes, in the numerator, because 3 is bigger than 2 and 3 is in the numerator. Then subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. Very good. So we can just keep it invisible. Now for the variable y. Where can we find the bigger exponent? In the denominator. It's 2. 2 is bigger than 0. So we write y in the denominator, then subtract exponents. 2 minus 0 is 2. So the exponent of y is 2. Okay, and then I think we can still squeeze in another example. So in this example, our number factor is a fraction. It's negative 6 over 15. What is the GCF of negative 6 and 15? It's 3. So negative 6 divided by 3 is 2. Okay, so the new numerator now is negative 2. And then 15 divided by 3 is 5. So the new denominator now is 5. Alright, that's for the number factor. Now for the x. Alright, the variable x. We don't have a variable x in the denominator, so we just copy x to the 4th. Okay, and then where to write y? Yes, in the numerator, because 3 is bigger than 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So the exponent of y is 1. And we don't have a z in the numerator, so we just copy the z in the denominator. So I hope this helps, so you can practice this on your own. Okay, you have a separate Jamboard, so just erase the answers and then do this, okay, in your paper in preparation for our live drills. Alright, you can answer in the Jam or you can answer in your math notebook with me live in class. Bye for now!